I want to call your attention to what is happening in Bitcoin. The selling is continuing right now, down more than about 8%, below 43,000. Let's bring in Meltem Demirors, the Chief Strategy Officer for CoinShares. Meltem, great to have you with us.
Great to be here. And happy 2022.
Happy 2022 to you as well. Nice to see you in the new year. So about the sell-off, Meltem, should Bitcoin sell off when risk assets sell off? Is that the right approach? Because that's what the market is. That's what the market does.
And that's honestly what we've seen, Melissa. I think that's what we've seen over the last 3 quarters now is this behavior. And I think, again, the jitteriness that we see across general markets is also felt in crypto. And we've seen some self-fulfilling narratives in the crypto space. There's this belief in Bitcoin cycles in particular. Bitcoin went through its halving 18 months ago. We are now, at a really critical time in that cycle narrative. We had tax selling at end of year. We had firms and funds crystallizing profits or losses, potentially tax harvesting losses in some cases. And so I do think that self-fulfilling narrative is sort of continuing here with the sell-off that we saw today and into the first trading week of the first quarter of this new year.
So in order to understand Bitcoin and your views for 2022, Meltem, I want to go back to what you forecasted for Bitcoin last year, and that was 100,000. Yep. And you certainly weren't alone in that call for 100,000. You stood by that call all the way until as late as October, I believe, is the last time we spoke to you. So what happened or what didn't happen that surprised you?
Yeah, I think there were 3 main things that happened. First and foremost, one of the biggest catalysts for Bitcoin, particularly in U.S. markets, was the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Inflows into that trust were really robust in Q1 and Q2. We saw record amounts of Bitcoin being bought and put into that vehicle. And that vehicle is trading at a premium. It's now trading at about a 20% discount to NAV. There was a really popular arbitrage trade that a lot of funds were engaging in to crystallize an immediate 20% gain. That ARB has now disappeared, and that ARB is really difficult to unwind. So I think that going away was definitely a negative catalyst. We also saw the launch of the ProShares ETF, which is backed by the cash-settled CME Bitcoin futures contract. That, again, is a big disappointment. In Europe, our products, the CoinShares ETP family, is actually physically backed with Bitcoin. Here in the U.S., it's been really difficult, and the SEC has point blank said no physically backed Bitcoin products will be in the market. So that inflow going away, I think, was a huge negative sort of signal, stopped some of the inflows. And we've just seen low open interest, low leverage across the board going into the back end of the year, and that's continued into this year as well.
Hey, Meltem, it's BK. So we talk a lot about Bitcoin, right? But there's almost 10,000 other coins. Most of them might be junk, but there are others out there. Is now a time, or are you seeing flows into other sectors or other coins outside of Bitcoin?
Absolutely. So we've seen a lot of flows into Solana, which is a layer 1 protocol, another blockchain that has some different characteristics. We've seen actually a lot of flows into Solana structured products as well as into Solana spot. There are a few others. Avalanche has been popular recently, as well as Luna. And then there's continued interest, obviously, in Ethereum. I think across the board, what we're starting to see, and BK, you know this, you and I have been through a couple of these cycles together now. We had a great year for Bitcoin and Ether. If we zoom out to last year, Bitcoin ended the year up almost 100%, Ether up almost 300%. So it was a great year for both of these assets. People are now taking their profits and rotating them into other assets that might see more material appreciation in 2022. And I think that's behavior we've seen time and time again when it comes to crypto assets.
Meltem, it's always great to see you. Hope to see you soon. Meltem Demirors.
Have a good one.
Of CoinShares. Brian Kelly, I think that's interesting. And when we had Dan Moorhead of Pantera Capital on Crypto Night in America a couple weeks back, which you were on, I talked to him about the notion of rotation or source of funds. And so I'm wondering if you believe that's the case, that people could be cycling out of their profits in larger coins into some of the smaller ones.
Yeah, we're seeing that. I think the word of the year for crypto this year is going to be dispersion. What we've seen in crypto's history is everything trades as one big block. That has not happened over the last really 3 to 6 months, and it's not happening now. So I do think people could be saying, taking some money out of Bitcoin, maybe even taking some money out of Ethereum, and going into these other protocols that are more in the growth stage and have, you know, more potential for upside than Bitcoin, which has really become this macro asset. And it's really funny to say, but it's almost kind of matured here, Bitcoin, where there are other parts of this market that are just starting to grow.
Your top coin right now is what, BK?
Oh, right now, Cosmos Atoms, without a doubt.
All right. Coming up, rough day.
Interoperability is going to be the big thing.
Okay.